Hi everybody, Lord Maim here again with part 16 of the Mass Effect 3 Insanity walkthrough, Arrae, Ex-Cerberus Scientists. This mission, of course, gives you a chance to reunite with Jacob, assuming you survive Mass Effect 2. But it does start you right in the thick of things right off the hop. Before you get a chance to save Jacob, there'll be a few assault troopers that you have to wade through in the first wave. Sticking back behind cover and cleaning up the couple that are here, you'll be able to advance and trigger the second set of the encounter. In Wave 2, you'll also have some additional forces drop in addition to the two static ones that are there keeping Jacob pinned down. They won't turn around and engage you unless you actually attack them, so it's best to hit them with a sniper rifle and take them out before they even realize you're there. Once you come around the corner to this stairwell, however, the other 6 assault troopers and the Guardian will drop in. Depending on where you drop your singularity, you could probably incapacitate most or all of them right away. One thing to keep in mind, though, is to try to eliminate the shield generators and the towers as quickly as you can. Needless to say, more shields on enemies is never a good thing. Once you start engaging them, they'll pretty much ignore Jacob, so there's no worries about him dying or anything strange like that. This is just a straight up fight. Although the enemies were always aggressive on Insanity, you'll notice that at this point in the game, they're actually starting to become even more aggressive, flanking you more often, charging you at times when normally they wouldn't. As well, you have to keep an eye on your squad mates a little bit more, because if they get out of position, they can be easily separated from the group and isolated, picked off one by one. Make sure you fill up on ammunition before you continue. Then proceed up the stairs and talk to Jacob to continue with the story.
Come in, Jacob. This is Bryn. Jacob, are you alright? Come in.
Jacob? How bad?
I'll live. I think.
Crazy. Told you that we should have gone.
There'll be a cinematic sequence where you meet up with Jacob and his newfound companions and have a whole lot of backstory, none of which has any combat in it, so I'm going to skip over the whole thing. Search the whole area thoroughly. There's a couple of good pickups and some salvage you can get, so it's well worth your while to take the time and look around. Go up these stairs at the end of the hallway, or up this ladder at the end of the hallway, and then down this hall to start the next section. If you use pistols, the Carnifex is there on the piping to the left. Right off the stop, encounter 2, there's a shield pylon which you want to eliminate first. Then, of course, my old nemesis, the combat engineer. Take him out before he can drop a turret.
Right away.
And as we've discussed before, combat engineers and centurions, even though they're shielded, if you can wipe out their shielding, they're just as susceptible to the singularity ability as anyone else, so it's always good to use it as crowd control, regardless of what type of enemy you're actually facing. Again, fill up on ammo before proceeding. Right at the top of this rise here, once you take care of the last of this wave, will be the start of the next wave in this encounter. Pick off the combat engineer before he can react to your presence. Hopefully your aim is better than mine. The remainder of the troops will drop down from above and engage you immediately, so be ready for them as soon as you've started on the second wave here. Not a huge deal at this point, but we are getting into one of the larger waves in the game coming up. So try not to use too much of your ammunition, and if you happen to run low, look around in the area on this rise before you go over the edge, because once you do, you won't be able to come back. Not without some difficulty in any case. As always, use your L2 and R2 buttons to bring up the radar. Keep an eye on where your enemies are and establish their positions before proceeding. Once you've wiped out the second wave, move ahead to the end of the area and use the control panel to realign the sensor dish, which is the first step in getting the anti-aircraft guns on fire. This will trigger the third wave, and this is a very large wave full of assault troopers and centurions, in addition to at least one assault trooper which will mount a mounted gun on the roof there up and to the right of your position. They'll start firing about halfway through the wave, so try to wipe out the first batch as quickly as you can. The last thing you need is to have that thing shooting at you while you're trying to attack other troops that are flanking you and avoid getting shot at the same time. So continuously you're going to have shuttles dropping additional waves of troops in small groups, so be ready for them. If you can plant a singularity either in the shuttle or on the ground below it, you can usually prevent them from advancing into the area, really get them bound up in a traffic jam, makes your life a little bit easier. That said, try not to poke your head out too much here with the large numbers of troops that you'll actually be facing, and the smoke that the Centurions sometimes drop can be a little bit deadly if you're caught out of cover for any length of time. Again, there are a couple of shield generators in this area. Be aware of them and take them out early. No point in reactivating them in this section, because you will not be past this area again while there's troops. So just take them out and move on with your attack on this wave. Depending on the enemy's position, you might see him hanging back and trying to hit you from afar. Because they have the upper hand in this position, shooting down at you, you'll want to take care of them rather than having them continuously picking you off from a relatively safe position. This is about the point roughly where you're going to see the mounted gun start attacking you, right about when you hit this cover to the right, the empty ductwork. From this position, you usually can't hit him with a sniper rifle unless he happens to be turned like towards one of your squad mates. In order to really be able to hit him with any degree of accuracy, you'll have to advance and actually climb up to the next area. So when it's safe and when the enemies on the lower level have been taken care of, move forward and to the right to that stacked set of ductwork. Forms a set of irregular stairs, but try to seek cover immediately. Chances are the second you poke your head up onto this next step, you're going to start getting shot at. So stay in cover, and when ready, advance and find cover directly ahead and to the left or right. Once you're past a certain position forward, the mounted turret will not be able to look down enough to hit you. This is the point at which it's safest to try and attack the assault trooper that's actually mounting the gun. Sometimes you can only see a little piece of him. If necessary, juke to the left or right, or hit him with a singularity. Makes things much easier. Once you see the autosave trigger, you know that all the enemies are done in the area, so you can continue onwards to the ladder. But first, sweep the area for additional ammunition. It's not as big a concern in this section because there is additional ammunition up top, and you will be using the mounted gun for the bulk of that section of the game. So if you can't find enough ammunition to be full up, it's not a major concern at this point. Move ahead and to the left, climb this ladder, and then move up to the roof above. The first AA gun control will just be triggered automatically. You hit the switch and it goes in, no problem. But unfortunately, life isn't that simple, so moving to the second one, you'll have to do a little bit of a different scenario. Much like it was on the N7 Cerberus fighter base, you will have to select one of your two squad mates to repair the switch while the other covers you. Now, while on the Cerberus fighter base, I had indicated that it's always best to have Liara with you, even though Garrus is a stronger fighter. In this situation, since you will be on the mounted gun, you won't be able to activate her squad abilities. So in reality, the best person to have with you is Garrus, since he's more survivable. So have Liara repair the AA gun while Garrus seeks cover. You, meanwhile, go straight to the anti-aircraft, or pardon me, the mounted emplacement here, and hop on it. You'll see troops drop from the overhead, drop down from the shuttles both here on this platform and below and to the left. Sometimes they'll move to one position, not deploy anything, then move to the other, so don't be fooled thinking that, you know, they're going to drop off things and run away. Just make sure to keep an eye on the troopers below as well. In the end, though, they can only get up the same way you did, so your first priority will always be to these troopers landing on the same level as you. You don't really have to worry about anything, even the Centurions and the Phantoms, with the raw firepower that this emplacement can put down and the small numbers of their troops. You don't have to worry about barriers or shields. The raw firepower will just overwhelm them and blow through their protections.
Gotcha. I'm on it.
Once Liara says that the gun is ready to be activated, move back to the AA gun and activate it, triggering a cinematic which will take you back inside, giving you a second chance to sweep the area for equipment and talk to Jacob and his companions.
Shepard, AA guns are back online.
Copy that. Let's get these people.
You may want to pick up on ammo there next to the AA gun before, or the mounted gun, before you go back down. Just make sure to keep topped up. There'll be two small encounters triggered the second you say that the evacuation should start. The first two encounters are very small, just 3 assault troopers. These 3 drop in through the ceiling. The next 3, you have to go down the stairs the way you came in and back into the shuttle bay. But each set is strictly assault troopers, so nothing to be concerned about. And the second set of 3 will be triggered once you open this door. They'll come straight up this stairwell at you. Again, nothing really to be concerned about. However, from the angle, you can't cheat the corner here, so use Liara's Singularity to incapacitate them.
Jacob, bring up the main door.
Got it, Shepard. Will do.
Here we go. Okay, let's get
Once the door opens, you'll get into the last encounter of this mission. And this one comes in 2 waves. The first wave, a substantial number of Cerberus troops, including a Phantom and a combat engineer. They'll drop again from shuttles, both on the upper platforms to the left and right of the doorway, as well as further on, straight ahead of you. Again, there are shield pylons in this area, and regardless of whether or not you destroyed them on your way in, they will be active again on the way out, so take care of them right away. A lot of the troops, as they deploy, will get tagged by the shield generator the second they drop down to this level, so the sooner you do that, the easier it will be for you. If you lose track of them, the blue ray that comes from the pylon that envelops the troops is a good sign tracking them back to where you should be shooting. It's kind of like tracer fire, but the opposite. Meanwhile, while you're killing Cerberus troops, the Ex-Cerberus Scientists will be evacuating 1 shuttle at a time. However, the last shuttle won't be ready, of course, until the end of the wave. So there is no speeding things along. It's strictly as fast as you can kill troops. That's when the evacuation will occur. Bear in mind, though, that if you move out into this area, like if you're running low on ammo, like I am, for example, the lower part of the doorway will raise back up, preventing you from re-entering the hangar. So it's best to stay back there as long as possible, where it's safe, and cheat the corner. Once you start running low on ammo, however, you will have less of a choice, so pick your time appropriately.
Jacob, come in. What's your status?
Shepard, the facility's overrun. Cerberus troops are all over the place.
One more shuttle of refugees to go, right?
Like I had mentioned before, if you can manage to get a singularity in the vehicle, depending on how you target, using the sniper rifle scope, you can target quite a bit further than you can with your normal vision. So if you can hit one of the troops with a singularity while inside the vehicle, it will actually bounce them around inside the vehicle and damage them quite a bit, as well as fling them off in a random direction when they're done, usually causing additional damage from the fall. Plus, it's fun to watch. It's like a Cerberus snow globe. I don't know, a pain kaleidoscope. Whatever you want to call it, still. Again, Phantoms with Liara, you want to hit them with a stasis as soon as possible. Following it up with straight up fire or warp ammo or a warp ability to detonate the stasis.
That was the last of the civilians.
Shepard, heads up. The place is overrun. We gotta go.
At this point, though, with the ability and the power of your sniper rifle, you can probably just overwhelm it in a couple of shots if you manage to hit it in the head.
Jacob,
Once all the regular troops are dead, an Atlas will deploy from orbit, being the last thing you have to defeat before the end of the mission. Just as before, use disruptor ammo or overload abilities to take out its shields, following up then by warp to weaken the armor and incinerate if you have it, or incinerate ammo. If you hadn't already gotten the Hijacker trophy when you were doing Priority the Citadel, you can try for it here. However, I haven't had much luck for it on this level. It always seems as though the Atlas just detonates almost immediately, whether it's just my bad luck or some function of the level itself, I don't know. But it never hurts to try and shoot out the pilot of the Atlas. Tends to save a little bit of time in any case. Even through the smoke, you can usually see an outline on this level because it's brighter than some of the other levels you've been on. So you don't need to worry about the smoke screen as much, but always start to worry whenever the Atlas starts to charge at you like this. If you can get behind some double tall cover like I'm standing behind right now, you can still cheat the corner while avoid the possibility of the Atlas's low sling rockets from hitting you, because they'll just impact against the cover. But once the Atlas is dead, the shuttle will launch and lead you into the ending mission cinematic, and that will be the end of Part 16 of the Mass Effect 3 Insanity walkthrough, Arrae's Ex-Cerberus Scientists. Join us next time for Part 17, which will be Priority Geth Dreadnought and the introduction of my favorite race, the Geth. Till then, I'm Lord Maim. Thanks for watching.